Hello and welcome back to the Dropback NFL show here on Brit Ballin. I'm Sam Lewis and joined by Joe Costanzo. How are you doing, Joey?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you doing, mate?
Yeah, doing pretty good. If you listen to our podcast earlier in the week, you'll know that Stan and Matt are skiving because they're both on holiday and apparently don't have Wi-Fi away.
Or a microphone. Not sure.
Or a microphone. I mean, Matt's mic, he could basically use his phone at that point. It's the same quality.
Yeah, that is true. But
right, so
we keep it professional on the Dropback.
Yeah, are you just telling that to anyone that hasn't ever heard Matt speak?
Yeah. Fucking what? Fucking.
It's like he's here. Anyway, so we covered the AFC North previews earlier in the week, so it's time for the NFC North. Not really a whole lot of news coming out, so we can get straight into the divisional previews and kick it off with the Chicago Bears and maybe new quarterback Justin Fields, though not if you believe the Bears organization who say Dalton will be the starter.
Yeah, I was wondering, when do you think Justin Fields is actually going to start?
It should be week 1, but it'll probably be week 2 when Dalton is terrible.
Yeah, they're just going to throw Dalton out to the dogs. Don't they have a really tough game week 1? It's the Rams. Yeah, they'll throw him out to the Rams defense. Dalton will have a bad game. And then Justin Fields will come in week 2 against the Bengals and probably perform quite well.
Yeah, because he's probably better than Andy Dalton at this point.
You'd hope so, honestly.
Yeah. And Stan isn't here to say that he's not and he holds onto the ball too long, so I'm going to double down.
I agree. I mean, everything I've heard out of training camp has been very good about Justin Fields.
Joe, you kicked off when I brought up training camp on the earlier show. You said you can't believe a word out of that.
That is true. But
you've been watching some of them Twitter vids with his rocket arm.
That and a lot of Trey Lance highlights as well, weirdly enough.
Yeah, so if you were going to pick like a rookie of the year between those two, which way would you lean?
I'd probably assume that Justin Fields is going to play more games, so I'd have to go Justin Fields between those two.
Even though Trey Lance is already getting them number 1 reps. Well, not.
He's getting number 1 reps with Jimmy G. Yeah. I mean, it's going to be like Lamar in his first year. He's going to get in on special plays and then
the run packages just didn't work because it was obvious why they were bringing him in.
Yeah, exactly. And I imagine Jimmy G isn't going to do amazing as an outside blocker either.
I don't know. I think you may be selling them short. Anyway, but back to the Bears. I don't know. They've got a couple of nice pieces, to be fair. They managed to get Allen Robinson back, but I don't think he'll probably be there next year. And their defense is always going to be good, especially with Eddie Goldman back. Wasn't there last year next to Akeem Hicks. So you got Robert Quinn, Khalil Mack, Eddie Goldman, and Hicks sort of across the D-line. That's a nasty defensive front, even though I know they decided to let go of their best corner.
Yeah, I still don't understand that at all. But yeah, their defensive line looks pretty darn good. I mean, their defense has never been an issue, and I think even without God, I forgot his name.
No, I'm going to let you suffer there.
Don't do this to me. You've forgotten him as well.
Fuller.
Yeah, Cole Fuller. My bad. Yeah, even without Cole Fuller, they're probably gonna. That's their best. The best thing about this team is the defense. So, I don't really like any of their corners that they have at the moment. I mean, they're Jalen Johnson and Desmond Trufant are their top corners at the moment, which.
I mean, Johnson was all right as a rookie, but yeah, he wasn't exactly a standout. Trufant hasn't been entirely reliable for a few years now.
And they got Artie Burns in the slot, who's okay.
Artie Burns does.
Artie Burns.
I think all right might be a bit generous. So I think there's a reason when someone like Trufant bounces around like 3 teams in 3 years as a veteran. There's sort of generally a reason for that. The backside's good. Tayshaun Gibson and Eddie Jackson, always a good player. Roquan Smith, probably one of the better linebackers in the league that doesn't really actually get a whole lot of credit. So defense is solid head to toe. I mean, it's on the outside. It's a bit iffy, like you said. But I think that they'll be good enough. And to be honest, having almost made the playoffs last year with how putrid they were on offense with Trubisky and Foles, if Fields comes in, isn't like there's a good chance that they actually might make the playoffs this year.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Sorry, if Fields plays well, is what you'd expect from a first round pick, then there's a chance they make the playoffs. Not going into the season, they'll make the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, with the extended playoff bracket, there's more chances.
Oh yeah, half of teams make it anyway.
Exactly. The one thing I would say is like I don't really have a lot of faith in the O-line. Really, I mean, Tevin Jenkins was a good pickup. They're paying him. I mean, ESPN is saying that they're playing him at left tackle.
Did he play right tackle throughout his college career? Did he play a bit of left as well?
No, he pretty much just played on the right side the entire time.
That's a good start for a rookie.
Yeah, so sticking him on the opposite side, it's not his natural position, like given his arm reach and everything. But yeah, I like that as a pick. He was one of my favorite offensive line prospects. But I mean, at left guard, you got James Daniels, center Cody Whitehair.
Cody Whitehair's a really good center.
Yeah, he is. But Jermaine Ifedi at right tackle, which
I don't think a center is. Exactly. If you were good, can't do a whole O-line job by himself.
Well, exactly. He's out for half the play anyway. He has to worry about snapping it. But and Alex Barr's at right guard, who they're just sort of average run of the mill offensive lineman, lower end of the league, I would say. So I'm a bit worried about that, especially we'll have to see in week 1 against the Rams just how badly Andy Dalton is getting chased around before I can make a real judgment on that.
But will you be able to make a judgment on what the offense does with Andy Dalton?
Yeah, well, I'd rather. I mean, Justin Fields is a mobile QB, but it's not like he completely relied on his legs.
I know he's got an absolute rifle.
Exactly. So I would like to see, a semblance of a pocket. It's the same.
Just so you can feel a bit confident about throwing a rookie in there. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like you don't. Yeah, you need a couple of seconds to throw the damn ball. That would be nice.
It would be a weird move though, going into week 1 and being like, right, if Andy Dalton struggles, we'll throw in Justin Fields. At that point, you may as well make Fields the starter, basically going in, right?
It's a sacrificial lamb thing, so they're just they're chucking him in as a goodbye once and for all. I'm interested to see if David Montgomery steps up at all. Like he's been kind of like someone that people think could be like a breakout star like every year, and then he's always kind of like okay, like he'll have a few good games and whatever.
He's yet to fully break out.
Yeah, if they do some creative things, we saw what Tevin Jenkins could do, lead blocking and stuff. So if they're creative with their run plays, I could see.
You can imagine they can get quite creative if they bring in Fields, to be fair. It does add the extra element that Dalton doesn't have.
Yeah, he just needs to be starting week 1, doesn't he? Like
he's just so much better. And if he's not, you know what you have there. Like Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace have basically extended their career in Chicago by a year. Like Nagy's got off quite lucky because my offense is fine. It was Trubisky that was the issue. So if there's still an issue, then it's like maybe you're the problem, mate. And at some point you're gonna have to throw him in to save your job.
That is true. Yeah, but the thing is, do you want to throw him in and completely wreck his confidence against the pretty tough Rams defense week 1?
I don't know. I think if you're a guy that's made it to the NFL, you've got a bit more confidence than you're completely ruined after one game. I think you're going to have a bit more confidence in yourself than that.
Yeah, but it's a rookie's first game. You'd rather he be playing the Bengals in week 2.
Maybe. Peyton Manning was coming out today, before all the Hall of Fame stuff, and saying, look, if I hadn't gone 3-13 in my rookie year, I wouldn't have learned a whole lot of stuff that I did that helped me down the road. Like losing helped him, apparently, he claimed. Good teaching lesson, Peyton.
Yeah, I always forget he went 3-13 in his first year.
But... Yeah, because Speaking of which, Hall of Fame game tonight, you're going to be staying up to watch that, Joe.
Hell no.
The
I have
football's
a
back.
work. I am fully employed, and I have to get up at semi-reasonable hours, so I
You
can
have
only
to
really
rub it in.
justify it on, regular season having a really shit Monday, rather than on a Friday after the Hall of Fame game.
Hey, it kicks off at 1. That's plenty of time to sleep if it sucks real early.
I mean, yeah, maybe for the initial drive to see what the starters are like. Maybe,
But you're not going to see the starters. Are you mad? It's going to be Dwayne Haskins.
Dwayne fucking Haskins. Jesus Christ. Also, how many games do you think they're winning here?
The Bears?
Not Dwayne Haskins.
Probably somewhere between 6 and 10. Like 6 and 10 wins.
6 and 10 wins.
Six, yeah, between six. No, bottom out at 6 wins. I think best case scenario they win about 10 games, unless like Justin Fields is, I don't know, something that we just comes in out is a franchise quarterback straight away.
Yeah, and
because he doesn't have a whole lot of pieces around him to help.
But yeah, they also have they have a semi-reasonably tough schedule from what I can see. I mean, they've got to play the NFC North, which kind of sucks.
Who we've said have 3 really good defenses in.
Yeah, their division itself is relatively, okay, the Packers and
Vikings
they might
will be a decent defense.
500 against the Vikings, I can imagine. So yeah, I could see anywhere between 5 wins and 10 wins probably. Give or take.
So pretty much what I said.
Pretty much.
Nice.
Except I've given them 1 less just in case.
1 less. What happens is that just if they stick with Andy Dalton?
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. That's
well, maybe Stan, if you wrote that in the group chat like I asked, we'd have a reason for that. Stop copying Joe.
Boring, Stan.
All right, should we move on to
let's go.
Maybe what will become the most beautiful disaster of an NFL season we will ever see, with madman coffee drinker Dan Campbell at the helm.
Oh, I love Dan Campbell, though. You gotta love it.
It's going to be an absolute shit show, though, isn't it?
I really like everything he's trying to do for the culture there, actually trying to build some semblance of a culture at the Lions, but they just need more time. We're not expecting them to do anything this year, realistically.
No, that does pretty much sum it up. You're right. That like roster strength, like what the pieces they have is just not a whole lot to work with. They're fully rebuilding. And to be fair, the Dan Campbell attitude might be something that players love, despite a lot of people in the mainstream media like absolutely ripping it.
I think players he's a player's guy. From everything that's been said about him, it seems that way. But I'm just looking at this roster. I mean, when your starting receivers are Tyrell Williams, Brashard Perryman, and Quintez Cephas.
Hey, he's got one of them little star things on Madden because he's really good at returning.
Oh, cool. Excellent. Nice. Well, that must mean he's going to.
No, that's great. Agnew, actually. Ignore me. It's not even him.
So you're a liar as well.
I'm not a liar. I'm just mistaken.
Yeah. I mean, I liked some of the stuff they've got on their O-line. Frank Ragnow, I obviously loved the Penei Sewell pickup. TJ Hawkinson showed signs of being good, a good tight end.
I think he's going to be good. I think people are getting a bit ahead of themselves. People put him in like the top 5 list of tight ends at the moment.
No, that's ridiculous. No,
I think that's a bit more of a projection than where he's at right now.
No. We can't be having that. Although people were putting freaking Kyle Pitts as the 3rd best tight end in the league. Yeah, 3rd best tight end in the league. Never played a game. 3rd best tight end in the league. Great. Yeah,
I don't know. I like their running backs. Like you said, I like their O-line, so they may be able to do a bit of something. I'd quite like it for Jared Goff for them to have like a competent season on O-line because I feel he's been a little bit hard done by I mean, it's hard to feel bad for someone that's making as much money as Jared Goff is, but
yeah,
he was very much scapegoated in LA.
Yeah. I mean, he had success there, and I mean, it was a bit of a. They kind of just threw him out to the woods as soon as things went bad. But yeah, I don't think he's the long-term answer at QB. I think he could. I don't know how many seasons they actually have him under with this contract.
I want to say 2.
Yeah, it seems like that. So I mean, they'll probably ride out his contract with him for a couple of years, and but I don't really see him, being anything that special, especially with the talent they have around him at the moment.
Yeah.
But
What did you think? What did you think of? Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say I really like their interior D line, Levi and Wuzarike, who Stan loves, Alan McNeil, who also got a mention, Michael Brockers as well, who's been
He's always
pretty
solid.
solid the entire time, for the Rams and everything. Jamie Collins as well.
Isn't Jamie Collins only good in New England though?
Apparently.
I mean,
yeah, and we could see a little, bounce back season of Jeff Okudah. He didn't do that bad. He got torched a few games, but
like rookie corners, it's like rookie corners and tight ends seem to be the position that it takes a little while to adjust to, unless you're Jalen Ramsey.
No, there's been a few corners that have come out and played pretty baller straight away.
Yeah, maybe, but yeah, the defense isn't great. The linebacking core is not fantastic. Neither are the safeties aren't brilliant either. So, I mean, I don't know why we're surprised going through each position, having said that they're pretty bare everywhere, except for the fact that Dan Campbell loves it when his players fight and is maybe the anti-Joe Judge in that respect.
Oh God, the Joe Judge stuff. I feel like if it all goes to shit with the Giants, then people are going to have some horrible stuff to say about Joe Judge. I mean, obviously Kelvin Benjamin said some nasty stuff as well.
To be fair, didn't they also ask him to lose weight and then he gained weight? So they're like,
he came in like 276 pounds or something to play tight end, which is pretty mental. But he claimed that he could play receiver at that weight. So,
I mean, he did. What about the Joe Looney stuff? Did you see that?
No.
So Joe Looney, guard, used to play for the Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
Signed with the Giants this offseason. Said he didn't know that Joe Judge made players like do laps and press ups and stuff as punishment, but he loves it.
Oh, he retired.
And then the big fight happened the other day. That he made them do like wind sprints and then star jumps or whatever, and then he just retired 3 days.
Yeah. It's just like, fuck this. I am not. No, I can get that. I understand. I mean,
it sort of had that Vontae. Do you remember when Vontae Davis just retired at halftime? It's like, nah, I've had enough of this shit.
I'm getting burnt. Just now.
See you, boys.
No press conference or anything. Yeah, I'd be surprised if I saw the Lions win more than 6 games. To be honest, I think that's probably their ceiling this season.
Yeah, I think they're more likely to be in the number 1 pick conversation, aren't they?
Yeah. I wouldn't be. Yeah, that could very well happen. In which case, I would recommend that they trade down for a bunch of picks.
That's always your suggestion. Trade down for a bunch of picks.
Or as many picks as possible. I mean, they've got the Rams pick as well, right? Oh no,
you got the Rams first round pick for the next 2 years.
Yeah,
and Jared Goff.
Exactly.
So if Jared Goff actually becomes a franchise quarterback again, do they not win that trade?
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, it depends. If the Rams go ahead and win a Super Bowl with Matt Stafford, then the answer is no.
Can 2 teams not win a trade, Joe? Why does life have to be a competition with you?
If you're not first, you're last.
Okay.
Them's the rules.
Them's the rules.
Indeed.
All right. Next up, Green Bay Packers. And
Oh,
finally, we know who's going to be starting under center, even though we knew it in the entire offseason.
I
It's going to be
told you
Jordan
this.
Love.
No, it's not true. You're
Did
a
I miss
liar.
something?
You're a liar. Aaron Rodgers had this
Mm.
whole thing. He came out to the media and talked about the situation very bluntly and very openly, and it was very professional, and I loved it.
Was it professional?
It's
I'm not saying I
professional.
disagree with it.
He had to say something, and
He
he was pretty open and honest about the whole experience and how it was for him and stuff. So
I like that he signed his new contract before he did that press conference. That was a good move.
yeah, excellent. Same. I mean, I thought he's either gonna just play or retire. seems that way. But
Well, those are the only really choices, weren't they? They weren't trading him.
yeah. There's no way they were going to trade him.
But based off that, has there ever been more pressure on a fourth string receiver than there is now on Randall Cobb to perform?
I don't. Yeah, no. I don't.
Like Rodgers, like, right, I'll come back, but you got to bring Randall Cobb back now. And then his whole thing is that he wants more same personnel. If Randall Cobb is shit, could the Packers ownership just be like, this is why, not ownership because they don't have owners, but GM just go, this is why we don't include you, Aaron.
I kind of like, well, it's more of a locker room thing, you know. It's the same as why he got annoyed with, I can't remember the receiver's name, but the other guy who they
Jordy Nelson?
Before. No. This is the one quite recently. He basically had like no game time, but
Jake Kumaro, who apparently is absolutely smashing it with the Bills in one-on-one.
Exactly. Maybe you should have listened to Rodgers there.
Do you reckon the Bills are putting that noise out so that Aaron's like, right, go trade for Jake Kumaro now?
I really trust the AFC East always has some funny like training.
You don't trust just the AFC East.
Oh, other than like the Patriots don't say anything, but all the other AFC East teams just chat a bunch of shit during.
Does every team not chat a bunch of shit around this time?
I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm used to Matt just talking about all the Dolphins, but when he talks about how Josh Rosen was looking amazing in training camp and stuff, like
Matt does eat up the training camp bullshit like it's bloody Cheerios.
Exactly. I wouldn't be surprised if Randall Cobb wasn't the fourth receiver though, because they have Amari Rodgers and Devin Funches as well, and Equanimous St. Brown, best name in the league,
better than his brother who's called Amon Ra.
Yeah, Equanimous. That's
Amon Ra. It's the Egyptian bloody sun god, Joe.
I mean, that's okay. There's no Equanimous, but it'll do.
Agree to disagree.
Yeah, I think now they've got Aaron Rodgers on this team, they're definitely going to win this division. There's no doubt about that. It's just this is probably their last real chance to win a Super Bowl before everything possibly breaks.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. I was going to say, is anything less than a Super Bowl a disappointment for this team now?
It's hard to say disappointment. Like, if they get to another NFC Championship, then it's a shame. But, you know, like, I feel like this is definitely, with 2021, what's shaping up to be, what's happening with like Devontae Adams' contract and the out that they could possibly have with Aaron Rodgers' contract next year. Then, I mean, it is kind of shaping up that they have to win this season.
And will they win?
No.
Like, can you see them not winning this division?
I can see them winning the division for sure.
Can you see them not winning the division? I'm talking floor.
No. I think they've got a semi-tough schedule, but so does everyone else on their division, in their division, and they have to play the Packers twice. So realistically, they're going to win the division. I think I'd be surprised if like floor maybe 10 wins, like on a really bad, and that's like a bad season for them, 10 win season. And then ceiling wise, like I could see them having like a 15 win season if it came to it. Like I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Yeah,
Or
no,
do
I
you
don't agree. I don't disagree.
You don't agree?
Even. I don't agree. I never agree with what you said, but despite that, I do think they're definitely winning the division, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, talent-wise, it's just there.
Talent-wise, staff-wise,
Exactly.
and then quarterback-wise, they're
the three big ones.
Yeah, defense is good. I mean,
yeah,
I don't know if the defense is necessarily any better than it was last year. Would be the thing. In fact, I don't know if the team as a whole is any better than it was last year. Maybe Amari Rodgers brings something that a little bit different in the slot that they were missing in sort of the short game, but it's a pretty similar roster, except they don't have Corey Linsley at center anymore.
That is true, which may be an issue. Josh Myers is okay.
It may be an issue, but again, the NFC Championship game, it's not like they lost it really badly. There's a couple of mistakes, like not getting it on and going for the field goal at the end, which has been talked about, but also
Scotty Miller
that Scotty Miller touchdown right before the half that changes the game basically because they started really strong.
But they've well, I mean, I don't know how much they've addressed it, but Eric Stokes, one thing about him is that he can definitely
get burnt deep.
He runs quick.
You don't get burnt deep. Didn't they bring Kevin King back? Or am I imagining that?
No, Kevin King's on the roster. Yeah, ESPN have got him as the starting right side cornerback beside the man Jair Alexander, who's an absolute stud. I love Jair Alexander and Adrian Amos as well.
Was it you or Stan that was arguing for him to be number one corner in the league?
Stan. Stan loves him a bit more than I. I don't think he's
Stan loves his guys so much, and it's a good quality. You got to back your boys, but he really does back his boys.
Yeah, I think the just the harsh reality of adulthood hasn't really kicked in yet. So maybe
have you had a tough day then, Joe? Do you talk about it, mate?
No, I'm fine.
All right. No, go on.
Yeah, they're definitely winning the division. I'd be surprised if they don't make a deep playoff run, and I would say disappointed if they don't make the Super Bowl.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, I'm not expecting them to win it.
If they win the Super Bowl, does Aaron Rodgers come back?
No, I think if they win the Super Bowl, Aaron Rodgers has all the leverage for sure. I don't think he definitely comes back. I think it would be very funny if they won the Super Bowl and then was like, right, well,
we agreed upon it. I'm going to the Vikings now.
Yeah, exactly. And then they become the team to beat.
Right. Speaking of the Vikings, final team in the NFC North, absolutely banged up on defense last year, and because of that, they were, as Mike Zimmer defenses goes, pretty disappointing on that front. They should be better equipped this year. Bring in Patrick Peterson, Rashad Breeland, who are, I think Peterson's past his time, prime even, but he's still definitely a serviceable starting corner and better than what they had.
Yeah, they had jack shit, so
he's better than jack shit. I'm willing to give him that.
Yeah, is Rashad Breeland the starting corner? They have someone called Cameron Dantzler as well.
He was a second round pick in 2020. I want to say second or third. He's all right. I think Breeland's just a bit more proven, to be honest. But they're low key interchangeable, those two.
Yeah. Either way, Pat Pete is your top guy. Even if he is declining, he's a lot better than what you had.
Yeah, and then on the D line, you get Danielle Hunter back even, and Michael Pierce, who has yet to play a game for them.
That's actually mad, isn't it? Yeah.
Did he sign in 2020? And then he was either injured or a COVID case, wasn't he?
Yeah, quite a lot of like interior linemen. I'm not sure 100%, but quite a lot of the big guys.
The big boys
sat out for COVID.
Yeah. I mean, Sheldon Richardson again there. So Sheldon Richardson alongside Michael Pierce is a pretty good, interior D line.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I don't really like on the other side of Daniil Hunter. They've currently got DJ Wanham. Not really like.
No, but I mean, at
confident.
some point when you've got two great guys in the interior and Daniil Hunter on the outside, it doesn't matter as much who you've got because he's only going to ever get one-on-ones.
True, but you'd like someone who could win one-on-ones.
You would. I mean, preferably you'd like someone that can win two-on-ones, if it's the option.
Oh yeah, if your line was full of world beaters, then you'd be Washington.
That would you'd be Washington. All right, and behind that, Eric Hendricks, Anthony Barr, always solid, those two. And then Harrison Smith still performing at top level. And unfortunately, they don't have. Oh my god, I can't remember what the safety had last year that was called. He signed with the Eagles as well. I really should know this.
It was not Sandejo.
No, he's actually good.
Sandejo's okay.
No, he's not. He's terrible.
He's okay.
Sandejo's a fool. Anthony Harris.
Oh yes, yeah, he was great. Yeah,
I mean, as if you just compared him to Andrew Sandejo, who, as Stan says, oh no, that's Patrick Peterson. No, we'll ignore that because he's being rude because he's salty. He's left Arizona.
Yeah, he was. I mean, I don't trust PFS rating, but Anthony Harris was pretty up there in terms of the free safeties last year.
Yeah, but it was over the last 2 years. They franchise tagged it. He was on a franchise tag last year, and then it's sort of hurt these mid-level players a little bit, the COVID, more than it does the top end or the bottom end players, because they usually get paid slightly more than their play suggests, and teams aren't willing to pay that at the moment because they can't afford to. So we got him relatively cheap on a 1-year deal. Plus, the thing is, he's already 31.
And now the Vikings have Xavier Woods.
Yes, he was the guy that was at Dallas for a while, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's not great. Not a great option, to be honest.
No, I think they'll try and hide him a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, Harrison Smith is obviously quite a versatile guy, but you're going to have to put him on the field somehow.
All right, so on the offense, we know what they're going to do. They're going to run outside zone all day with Dalvin Cook because it works. And then when they're bored of that, they're going to throw it over the top to Jefferson and Thielen. And I mean, it's a proven formula with these guys. It's worked. That's what they've done for like the last 2 years.
Yeah. I mean, not surprised about that. Irv Smith Jr., excited to see what he does as well at tight end.
Bringing Christian Darrisaw as well, the left tackle.
Yes.
You were high on Christian Darrisaw, weren't you? I mean, I know I was.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only real negative against him is it didn't look like he played with much hustle, but I think as soon as you get into the NFL, you have to play with hustle. He can kind of get away with it in college because he's still
enormous,
very athletic and huge. So I don't know if you're expecting 4.4 speed out of a left tackle or whatever, but yeah, Christian Darrisaw, like massive, like prototypical left tackle sort of size. Exactly what you'd expect. I think he's going to be good for him.
Yeah.
But, yeah, the rest of the line, I don't know.
The thing with the Vikings, I think they'll probably be good. I think they'll probably make the playoffs as well. I mean, especially with, how we mentioned it, how many teams get in the playoffs. But I just don't see enough here to have them go deep into the playoffs.
No, for sure.
They're very much a wildcard team that loses first, maybe squeaks a win on the first weekend and loses the second weekend.
Winning outrageous style on the first week of playoff games.
I mean, if they match up with the Saints, they'll beat them because they always beat the Saints.
Sure. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I don't really see them. I mean, they're definitely not winning the division, like we said. That's the Packers' division to win. Yeah, bar injury, I would be surprised if they didn't make the playoffs. But yeah, they're not going to do anything special.
I'd be very surprised if they fell below 500. Well, or 9-8 now. I think that's their very much floor.
Yeah, I mean, last season was a bit of a write-off with just the amount of injuries they had on the defensive side that just kind of left them in situations where it doesn't really suit their style of play either. And Justin Jefferson can have an outrageous rookie season, one of the best rookie seasons of all time, and somehow not make the playoffs that year.
They've still finished 7-9 though, so even with that, how bad their defense was, they weren't like dog shit.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think floor, I would say 8. Well, I guess 8 is less than 500 now. Fuck.
Yeah.
I'd still say 8, like as their floor. Yeah, 8 wins.
See, what is the new 500 now? Is 8 and 9 500, or is it 9 and 8? I think it has to be 9 and 8. It has to be 9 and 8, doesn't it?
So wrong.
Yeah.
Why do they like money so much? Yeah. So 8 wins to maybe
10.
10, 11, something around that.
I think there'll be a win or two ahead of the Bears, basically.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. However, I'll just have to see how good Justin Fields is before I can really make.
Yeah, but you can't use that in your preseason predictions, Joe. Doesn't help you.
That's true. Yeah, could be surprised, but hey ho,
indeed. All right, so I think that does bring us to the end of today's show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Stan and Matt will be back at some point in the future. I'm assuming they will be.
Maybe.
But until then, make sure you check out our podcast from earlier in the week. That was on the AFC North, available to download on all major podcatchers. Follow us on our socials at The Dropback on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Our website, thedropback.com, has plenty of new articles out. And make sure you tune in every Thursday, 7 o'clock from now until the end of the season. We'll be here. Might be 7:30, but we'll let you know in plenty of warning. Thanks again for Britballin for letting us this platform. I've been Sam.
I've been Joe.
Until next time, goodbye.
Peace.